having a life scholarship and being able to afford to go to college made me feel inspired to go.
When I got a life scholarship, it was such a relief.
I knew that I wanted to have an impact. Having a life scholarship through the SC Education Lottery was huge. It gave me the opportunity to make that impact right here at home.
The South Carolina Education Lottery. A better you, a better us, a better South Carolina. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
You are about to listen to the Dr. Daliah Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Daliah Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Daliah.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So I need to vent for a little bit because I'm kind of ticked off. My flight going out to the Midwest stunk. And I got grumpy, but I kept my cool. But I just kind of want to, validate, my feelings. And am I taking this too far, or do I have a right to be pissed? So I set up a flight earlier on in the spring to go and see my nieces and nephews. And I didn't see anything about them charging for bags. So I get to the airport. And I think I might have made a change where one of our relatives my son wasn't coming with us. So one of my sons, I took off the flight, and then I didn't need it to be refundable. So I went to unrefundable. So I might have made a change a month or two ago, but I get there, I get to Southwest, and Southwest never charges for bags. And all of a sudden it says $35. $35 for a suitcase one way. And remember, I had to pay $45 last month one way, which ended up $90 extra for my ticket. Okay, so I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Why is there a charge? They go, well, if you scheduled after May, your flight, I'm like, no, I put this flight in, I paid, I did that like back in March or February. Sorry, go to the help desk. Okay, well, the help desk is full of a whole bunch of other angry people. And at that time, I'm going to be late for my flight. So I just pay it. So I'm like, okay, so I'm a little grumpy with that. But I brought a suitcase because I like to bring my own pillow and blanket, and then I had to bring stuff anyway. So I guess I'm not going to do a suitcase anymore on Southwest. So then we get on the plane, and the flight attendant is mean, outright mean. I'm always nice. When I come up, I'm like, hi, welcome. Thank you. I'll have the filet mignon medium. All right. Thank you. I love how Southwest is all first class. It's nice. But usually I'm really nice. I'm like, hi. I check out the pilots because I want to see if they're good looking. Also want to make sure they're not drunk. Pilots are looking cool. Everything. I get on the plane like I usually do. I go and I sit by a window, and then my son sits next to me. And then the flight attendant just keeps barking orders at people. And was really in a bad mood, she didn't yell at me, but I'm like, okay, she's in a bad mood. So it happens. People are in a bad mood. Then another flight attendant starts barking online. Well, then we get onto the runway, and I guess we're 10 or 4 or something. So we're waiting, and I'm looking out the window, and it looks like we're ready to go because I can see the runway. I'm like, okay, exciting. All of a sudden, they start yelling, close your window shades now. It's hot, and we're trying to keep the plane cool. I'm like, okay, I suffer from some menopause issues, but still, I wouldn't yell at people to close the windows. I'd say, guys, this might keep it cooler. Can we close the shades? So I close the shade, and then I feel us drive off the runway. And I guess we had to go back in line. So then somebody gets on the speaker saying, we need to get back in line. We're going to be 10th for departure now because of, and it sounded like they were blaming us. Somebody didn't have a seatbelt on. So I'm confused. So I start to open my window shade just to take a look to see what the hell is going on. Is it a terrorist attack and they're just trying to blame it on somebody's seatbelt? Why would we get off a runway that we're about to leave on to go in line behind 10 other planes? I don't get that. So as I open up the shade to kind of take a look, this woman behind me yells, close the shade. Okay. I'm like, lady, I didn't say that. But all I did was take a peek because I closed it, and I told my son, it looks like we're getting back in line. And I wanted to take my seat and just slam it back, right? To take her off. But they changed the seats. It doesn't go back that far. So even if I did try to do that, and you aren't allowed to move your seat because I didn't want to get yelled at. And I can't see this woman, so I try to take my phone and I try to do a selfie so I could see. And all I saw was a mask. She was wearing some sort of a surgical mask, and she's and she kind of is giving me a look like I'm a bad, evil person. And I have a lot of patience. It takes a lot to get me mad. And I really wanted to, drop some Trump F-bombs that day. And I didn't. I kept my cool. But, the flights are expensive. And whether it's your flight attendant, now, coming back from Omaha, we flew to Iowa, and then we flew back from Omaha because we kind of drove around the Midwest to see all my nieces and nephews, or most of my nieces and nephews. Flying back, everybody was awesome. Flight attendants were great. They were making jokes. But I got to tell you, once somebody is grumpy, I think it starts to spread to others, and everybody else starts to kind of get grumpy because you don't like being yelled at. That's why I think a lot of kids act up, because once mom's in a bad mood and it's grumpy to you, then they're already kind of setting the stage, which is why sometimes I kind of handled, being more soft about it because I could de-escalate some things and try to calm people down, especially with the kids. Like if they were fighting, I'd make a joke about something and try to de-escalate it. And then sometimes I had to yell. I'm like, I'm going to open up a can of whoop ass. But I don't understand people who have nothing to do with you scolding you. Did this woman really need to yell at me to close my shade? Mind your flippin' business. You're not the steward flight attendant. I heard the flight attendant. I just wanted to take a peek to see why we were getting off a runway. Does somebody need medical help? Is something wrong? What is going on? Why can't I take a look? And I see people scold others, and I can't stand that. Sit down. Be quiet. I would never scold another stranger. I wouldn't even, because I think that stranger could turn around and pop me in the face. Yet I see people do that all the time. Now, maybe it's because I just do things worthy of being scolded. But remember, there was that woman who I think suffered severe injuries. I don't think she died, but she was on an escalator and somebody was racing up an escalator. I think it was at an airport or something. And and the guy runs by her and she goes, slow down. Well, she didn't know who she was speaking to. Apparently this guy had severe mental illness. So he decides to turn around and clock her one. And then she falls down the escalator. And I think they were looking for the guy. I don't know if they ever found him. And so I get you have people who want to maybe make the world a better world, but scolding somebody, I would think twice about that because you could really make people mad. 1-877-Doc-Dolly, don't go away.
Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
This is an urgent announcement for anyone that's $10,000 or more in debt. Before you make another minimum payment, you need to know there are special programs that can completely free you of your debt. Total Financial Freedom can help you become debt-free in months instead of years. Resolve your credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and timeshares. Call Total Financial Freedom now at 800-878-6020 for a free consultation. For 16 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands get out of debt. You can feel confident when calling because Total Financial Freedom is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Battling for years and years stuck in the endless cycle of minimum payments could take decades. You have the right to get your debt resolved and substantially reduce your monthly payments. Call Total Financial Freedom now at 800-878-6020. That's 800-878-6020. 800-878-6020.
Let's face it, guys, we're living in times where the truth is becoming more suppressed and censorship is increasing at an alarming rate, especially on social media platforms. It's Clyde, and I want to tell you about a safe and secure digital playground we put together just for you. It's aftermath.media. You get access to thousands of Ground Zero archives and podcasts, along with our private social media groups with your basic membership starting at only $7 a month. Each subscription includes tech support, access to the RSS feeds, along with our own chat room and Telegram channel. In addition, the premium membership includes research study groups, webinars, a document and movie library, a live video stream of Ground Zero, a monthly Zoom chat with me, and other bonus content. Be sure to check out our yearly specials as well. Sign up today while you're thinking about it. Sign up at aftermath.media. Again, that's aftermath.media.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to y'all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Daliah, Facebook, The Dr. Daliah Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. So what are some of the things that we lose as we age? Some of us lose our hair. Some of us gain extra hair. That I was not prepared for. Some of us lose our sex drive. Some of us gain our sex drive. But what about our teeth? 11% of adults between the ages of 65 and 74 have lost all their teeth. Now, I don't want to lose my teeth. I try and take care of my teeth, but I definitely don't want to lose them. This is according to 2020 data from the CDC and Fox News. And 1 in 5 of us, if we're over 75, will not have teeth. Now, I had a family member who had asked me to set her up with one of my oral surgery friends to just have all her teeth taken out. She's like, I just want to wear dentures. I am sick of my teeth and the cavities and the dental work. Just rip them all out. And I'm like, I don't think anybody wants to do that. You know, and the oral surgeon said, does she realize she's going to be disabled? Not having your teeth limits you on how you could eat. It's a disability. But she suffered, so long with teeth issues that she still has her teeth, thank God. But she was so frustrated that she's like, I just want them all pulled. But we don't have to be in a position where our teeth are the bane or is such a liability. I, though, am ignoring something very important as it pertains to my teeth. I brush my teeth. I dental floss. I don't water pick as often as I should. I think water picking is great, to flush out, food from the gums. I go to the dentist. But the one thing I cannot do is wear a guard. And I grind my teeth in my sleep. I don't mean to, but I must be clenching or thinking about something. And I wake up in the middle of the night tasting powder, like tooth powder, meaning I must have been grinding and releasing at a macro level pieces of teeth. And when I go to the dentist, he's like, we got to do something. I mean, your teeth are flattening. And I'm nervous about that because every time I'm given a guard, I chew through the guard. In fact, the last guard I have has holes in it. And so I'm going to be wearing down my teeth really bad. And then you could get micro fractures. You could get micro cavities. And so my worry is if I don't get that figured out, I'm going to have some problems later. But what's more risky and what's more of a threat are gums and periodontal disease. So the first thing you need to do is to make sure you're protecting your gums. Fox News reports that 2 in 3 adults over the age of 65 has some sort of gum disease. So that's what, 66% to 67% of us. I'm not over 65, but I will be eventually, God willing. They say bleeding gums could signify a much more deeper problem. And so gum disease can also cause heart disease, because if you have inflammation of the gums, that could also cause inflammation that affects the heart. So if your gums get poor vascularization, that could also be a sign that you have poor vascularization of the heart. It could be a sign of diabetes. It could be a sign of poor nutrition. But when your gums start to deteriorate, they can't hold your teeth in place. You need your gums. It's one thing to have your teeth, but if your gums are receding, that, people say, oh yeah, I'm good. Everything was fine, but they said my gums were receding, so no big deal. That is a big deal. You have to have gums hold your teeth in place. So you got to take care of those gums. An analysis of 34,000 people found that older adults who lost all their teeth had a 1.4 times greater risk of developing dementia. Now, which came first, the chicken or the egg? If you have medical conditions causing dementia, like vascular multi-infarct dementia, most likely you're getting poor blood flow, not only to the brain, but also to the gums. But losing all your teeth, can that cause you to have dementia? Well, they do believe chronic inflammation in the body from the gums can contribute to dementia risk, heart risk, stroke, even cancer. So you got to take care of your gums. Now, if your gums bleed when they brush, if your gums are sensitive, if they're receding, get to a dentist. All right, regular checkups can help with that. And like I said, water picks are good because it helps flush out things. These gums are receding because they're being bombarded and assaulted by food and plaque and sugar and bacteria. Now, another issue that hurts us is dry mouth. You need your saliva, and it neutralizes the acids that could affect your teeth. It also protects your tooth enamel. But dry mouth affects 60% of older adults. It could be their medications or antidepressants, their blood pressure drugs, their antihistamines. Those could reduce saliva production. But if you don't have saliva, it's not flushing out your bacteria and flushing out the gums. You could get more decay. You could get more infection and gum disease. So the AARP recommends sipping water regularly, rinsing your mouth after eating, and then asking your dentist about prescription strength fluoride toothpaste. Dry mouth rinses like Act might help, but don't let dry mouth go untreated. Now, the dental visits. According to the AARP, they recommend that dental care schedules be personalized. So the idea of, well, I have to go twice a year. No, you might need to go 3 times a year. You might need to go 4 times a year. There's some people that may only need to go once a year. Now, going to the dentist is expensive, and I don't think Medicare is covering dental care like it should. But the frequency in which you go is not just written by somebody in government. The frequency is based on what you need. So ask the hygienist, ask the dentist, when do they want to see you again? Your jaw bite. Our bites are very important. A lot of us with our bite, we are malaligned, and that can also scrape the teeth, cause pain, tension, headaches. So there's a lot of things that can be done to prevent the wear and tear on your teeth. Now, going to the dentist is expensive. I am blown away at the cost, that sadly, it now is to go to the dentist. And they say only 3 in 10 adults over 65 have dental insurance. This is according to the American Dental Association. And Medicare does not cover all the necessary procedures. So AARP suggests looking into a dental savings plan, local dental school, sliding scale, because going for a cleaning, yeah, that's expensive, but that you ain't seen nothing yet if you have to get a root canal or you have to get gum grafts or fillings and crowns. And then adopting healthy habits. Fox News talks about, which I think we all could use some work on. If you smoke, you are up to 3 times more likely to lose all your teeth than non-smokers. Why? Well, because it affects the vasculature of the gums. It hurts the gums. It affects your saliva, all of the above. Candy, sugary cough drops, hard candies. They could also damage the tooth enamel. They believe that if you use xylitol, it might prevent cavities, support better oral health, but I don't like people on sugar substitutes that much either. But, try to avoid the sweets. Make sure you're brushing regularly, at least twice a day, and not just and spit. Really get in there good and massage the gums, circular pattern. People always ask, what's better, an electric toothbrush or manual? Some dentists have their preferences, but if you notice that you don't like sitting there and getting the vibration of the electric, I like using a regular toothbrush. I just don't like, I just like using a regular toothbrush. That's just my preference. So if you're going to notice you're going to brush your teeth less because you don't like the tool you're using, use the tool that you like. Now, discolored teeth are important. A lot of people are concerned that, okay, well, maybe I drink too much coffee. Yellowing of the teeth could be your loss of enamel. So if your teeth look discolored, that might not just be coffee or soda pop. That might be your loss of enamel. So you need to make sure you get that addressed. And there are fluoride strength toothpaste that help decrease your teeth sensitivity and can help protect some of your remaining enamel. So that's pretty important. So don't lose your teeth. And if you do have to get dentures or you do have to get certain dental appliances, luckily there's a lot of options, but don't just say, well, you know what, if I lose my teeth, I'll just use dentures. Try to save your teeth. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Looking for an easy read that can actually help secure someone's future? Pick up a copy of Mark Falter's book, Common Sense Income Strategies. For the past 30-plus years, Mark has helped thousands of hardworking Americans secure their financial future by using strategies that continue to create wealth, whether the market is up or down. Strategies that will make perfect sense once you take the time to read this powerful book. Common Sense Income Strategies brings to you what Mark has been teaching in person and talking about on the radio for decades. It's not rocket science, it's a pretty easy read. You've worked too long and too hard not to see the fruits of your labor. Common Sense Income Strategies is available now on Amazon or by calling 866-764-2635. That's 866-764-2635. Common Sense Income Strategies by financial fitness show host Mark Falter. Secure your financial future today.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So in the olden days, when you needed something medicinally or you needed some medical care, you would go to the provider or the healer or the doctor or whoever. They would charge you. You would request, help. They would help you. You would pay them or trade or some way to make it work. You would say goodbye. Everybody seemed to be happy, right? It was done. Easy piece of cake. Well, somehow, decades ago, insurance companies said, you know what? Let's get involved. Okay. Medicine is costing more money. So we will help pay your bills if you pay us. Pay us money. But I'm not sick. That's fine. Pay us a regular fee. And if you do get sick, we're going to be the one to negotiate with your doctor. And we will handle a portion of your bill. And you'll be happy in the long run. Well, at first people were like, say what? No, thank you. Until they started to see the hospital bills were getting more expensive. Families were becoming, like my family, to take care of my grandparents. We had no money for the hospital bills and all the medical bills. And we're like, okay, what can you offer us? We need some help. Because this was before they could get on Medicare. And then once insurance companies are like, okay, this is good. We're collecting money. We're paying. We're like, wait a second. Well, we're now paying too much. We need to find ways to minimize what we're paying. Because once a person has insurance, they want the farm. Right? If they, why settle for an X-ray when they could get an MRI? So we'll pay for things if it's authorized, if we approve it. And the prior authorization process has been one of the biggest pains in the ass for us physicians and medical centers and hospitals and patients. But it was a necessity for insurance companies because they would have to review why am I ordering the test. Now, it's going to become more of a issue as people are calling telemedicine companies saying, I think I have a rotator cuff tear, order my MRI. Now, the company I work for, we can't order MRIs. They're going to slowly start ordering imaging like mammograms, things like that, but I can't order an MRI. And then the patients get mad. They're like, why can't you order an MRI? I go, unfortunately, you have to see a provider. That provider has to order the scan. They're like, but why would an insurance company do that? I'm saving the insurance company money. I'm doing telemedicine. You order the MRI. It saves money because then I don't have to go to a doctor for something that I already know I need. And then once I get the MRI, if it's negative for rotator cuff tear, I don't see the specialist. And I'm like, your logic is sound. But this is what the insurance company is thinking. They're thinking, how do you know what you have? Your shoulder pain, you're calling having left shoulder pain. It could be rotator cuff, but what if your left shoulder pain is coming from the neck and this is a pinched nerve? If that's the case, you don't need an MRI of the shoulder as much as you need an MRI of the cervical spine. What if this isn't a pinched nerve or a rotator cuff issue, but you're having left shoulder pain because you have a cardiac event? So the insurance company needs referrals and prior authorization so they don't pay unnecessarily. Like boo-hoo, they make enough money, but still. So when people want to just call up and say, this is what I want, this is what I need, let me save you all money and time and let me save money, I don't blame them. It's just the way the insurance company is thinking, because we've had patients where we thought it was one thing, they thought it was one thing, they got another test done. It turned out, like I have a friend who was having hip pain. They did an MRI of her hip, but they thought they saw something odd in the pelvis, and her hip was fine. She actually had ovarian cancer. So even though one doctor went after the hip, it actually wasn't the hip, it was her ovary that was causing referred pain to the hip. So a physical exam is oftentimes necessary for the insurance company to order to pay for the test because they want to know that they're not just throwing good money after bad, doing tests. Now, personally, I think even a normal test is valuable. I know insurance companies hate doing a test that comes back normal, but we need to rule things out. So I think having a test and it says there's no pathology here is very valuable. But an insurance company, they want to save money. But these prior authorizations is like pulling teeth. And sometimes they take so long that the patient doesn't need the test anymore because they got worse or they died or they got better on their own. Well, RFK Jr. and Dr. Oz cannot stand the prior auth environment that we have. And so they are going to cut the red tape. And I'm really excited about that. Now, according to NPR, insurers have ramped up the red tape in recent years. Why? Because the more strict the prior auth process, the slower the approval comes. And then they get to put off pain. Imagine you needing an MRI of, let's say, your lumbar spine, and your doctor orders it after Thanksgiving, end of November. And the insurance company is going, this person may be switching insurance January 1. Well, let's kind of take a look at this. Do they really need the lumbar spine? So a week or two later, they might write back saying, hey, can you please fax the medical records to us or send the medical records? We're still in the process of reviewing it. Then they review it. Then it's Christmas week. The person might get an approval, but they can't schedule it till the next year. And if they have new insurance, that insurance company just got out of paying for it. So there's a lot of games that could be played. So a coalition of private health insurance companies has voluntarily pledged to standardize and reform this process. By the end of this calendar year, federal health officials announced at a press conference that the prior authorization process will be significantly better for healthcare providers and patients. According to the Department of Health and Human Services and AHIP, the Political Advocacy and Trade Association for Health Insurers, they say there are 6 parts to this pledge that RFK Jr. and Dr. Oz and HHS is working with insurance companies on. 1, to standardize electronic prior auth submissions. 2, reduce the number of medical services that require prior authorization. 3, honor existing authorizations when patients change insurance plans in the middle of ongoing treatment. You see, that's a huge one. 4, enhance transparency and communication about authorization decisions and appeals. 5, minimize delays with real-time approvals for most requests. And then 6, ensure medical professionals review all clinical denials. It stinks. When you have somebody else pay your bills, now they're involved. You want privacy. You don't want your doctor writing something in a medical chart. You don't want anybody seeing your medical records. I'd say these insurance companies, they get to see it all because they're the ones paying. They're your daddy. And so I would really like to eventually see a system where we don't need insurance companies, or you could go to a doctor, pay the $25 or $50. They don't have all the overhead. They don't have all the malpractice claims and all the malpractice insurance they have to pay. They don't. Thank God I never had a malpractice case. But because I've never been sued, I still, even though my malpractice is cheaper than others, it's still a lot of money. If they could fix all the extra costs doctors have, money can go down, or the prices can go down, but it's not going to happen. Wages have to go up. Workers' comp insurance has to go up. Rent is going up. Other labor costs go up. The supplies. If I buy bandages through a medical supply company, it's 2 to 3 times the price, unless if I compare it to going to Target or Walmart. So we are a society that now has amazing medical procedures, amazing medical tests, but it's expensive to operate those companies, operate those tests, pay for those machines. And the insurance company is trying to find ways where they don't have to pay or pay as much. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH. Dr. Daliah here. Are you tired, burned out, gaining weight, succumbing to the daily pressures of life? Well, how's your dopamine doing? How you feel right now, how you'll feel an hour from now, and how you'll feel next week is completely reliant on your dopamine. Our daily motivation and willingness to push through challenges depends on the intricate chemical process dopamine provides. Christian Kalikas and I created Deploying Dopamine, a book that tells you what dopamine is, when it dysfunctions, and how to successfully deploy it when needed. Find Deploying Dopamine on Amazon today. Check it out.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? My name is Ron LeGrand, and over the past 40 years, I've bought over 3,000 houses without using my money or credit and taught thousands to do the same. Today, even in a virtual environment, we buy nice houses in nice neighborhoods using no banks, realtors, contractors, or other costly entanglements, and build huge cash flow and wealth without the hassle of tenants, all without credit and little or no money. You don't need a license or experience, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Text FREE to 99799, and I'll send you my free training. I promise you I'll change the way you think about real estate and open the door to a new lifestyle that doesn't involve risk or rehabs and can quickly replace your current income. Text FREE to 99799 and let me show you how to take your life back and build cash flow and wealth from your home. That's FREE to 99799. Again, FREE to 99799.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives and restore sight and health for many more. Sign up right now online as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. You'll be happy you did. And just maybe, someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
Back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. This was a little bit before my time, but everybody knew Bobby Sherman. Bobby Sherman, a 60s teen idol and actor, had died yesterday, or today, at the age of 81. His wife, Bridget Poublon, confirmed his death to Fox News Digital. And she and John Stamos shared the news on social media. And he was diagnosed apparently with stage 4 cancer. We don't have a lot of details of the type of cancer. Stage 4 is one that's obviously aggressive and has already spread to other parts of the body. But it might have been kidney cancer. And that had, quote unquote, spread everywhere. So he was, I think he was on the ABC shows Shindig, and he had made several records, and he was a musician and performer, but he leaves us at the age of 81. Also allegedly leaving us is Marge Simpson. We're being told that The Simpsons is going to be having Marge Simpson go up to heaven. The Simpsons has been around for about 36 years, and we're being told by Evening Standard that season 36 finale has revealed that Marge Simpson, voiced by Julie Kavner, will die in the show. The episode, entitled A Stranger Things, was released last month on Fox. It was the final episode of this season, but the show is going on. I think it's going to return for season 37. In late 2025. It's one of the longest running cartoons, huh? I love The Simpsons. I just haven't watched it since the 90s, but I definitely would not want to see Marge leave. That's a very odd way of ending a season. But I guess they are talking about how this might happen. We don't know, but what we do know is she leaves and she goes up to heaven. I guess the episode A Stranger Things centers on the sibling relationship between Bart and Lisa, who I think are still in the 4th and 2nd grade, right? 36 years later. They bonded over their love of Itchy and Scratchy before growing out of the cartoon series. And then Marge worries that her children are drifting apart, worries about how close they'll be in the future. Then the show jumps forward 35 years into the future, where Lisa has a successful career and Bart runs an unlicensed retirement home. This would put the Simpson children in their early 40s, while Homer and Marge would be in their early 70s. And then very early on in the episode, viewers hear Lisa talk about her late mother, but we don't know how she died. So I don't know if it's because they're looking at the older characters, but I'm looking at this as the Simpsons will still have Marge. The death of Marge is probably suggested to be in the future and not necessarily active. So for those of you who really, really love Marge Simpson, I don't think we say goodbye to her yet. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So, a lot of excitement over the last few days, but a lot of concern. The potential ceasefire between Iran and Israel is something that is needed. It's just, I think people were looking at that as, Iran surrendered. No, they didn't. They pretended that they would do a ceasefire, and then they still sent bombs to Israel, killed a family of 4, injuring multiple others. But Trump says that he got this under control again. And Israel said they're not going to retaliate or send any more missiles, because they did. After they got bombed last night, they sent more. I don't blame them. But as opposed to Iran firing indiscriminately affecting civilians, Israel is attacking strategic military facilities or nuclear facilities. But the concern that many people have next is, what about these Iranian sleeper cells? How many got through and infiltrated the United States? And there's been some talk anywhere from a few thousand to maybe more. And so, my opinion on this is, if there were Iranian sleeper cells that infiltrated the U.S. when Biden had such a lackadaisical attitude of the border, then whatever mission that they were planning preceded what happened with Israel and Iran in the last 12 days. So if they're anybody that could have gotten in, it's not that they're going to change their mind and say, why don't we now do something bad because of what happened with the nuclear facilities in Iran? If they snuck in to do bad, then whatever they were planning is probably still being planned. We just have to do a better job of finding those that have criminal records, those illegal immigrants that shouldn't be here, those who did sneak over or were gotaways, and then deport them. So Trump heads to Europe for a NATO summit. I think he landed. I think it's in the Netherlands. And, he cussed, dropped the F-bomb, talking about the countries were violating the ceasefire. Although I don't know if at the time when he said this, he understood that the Iranian missile killed a family and hit a safe house shelter. So, but from what we understand, Trump later spoke to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Netanyahu confirmed they were going to refrain from launching further strikes on Iran today. So the ceasefire agreement appears to still be in effect, but ceasefires to me don't mean jack diddly squat, because usually, look at Gaza, the ceasefire between Gaza and Hamas and Israel. Hamas, once there was a ceasefire, again, violated it. So Israel's going to be like, well, if they're violating it, then we might as well continue to try to get the hostages out. So it's a mess. But the take home of this is we have probably put back Iran's nuclear capabilities by decades. And so this is going to eventually bring a sense of peace. And if Iran, who likes to fire indiscriminately on civilians, doesn't have the tools to do that, that's going to be a huge win for Israel, the U.S., as well as all the other countries that want peace. Also going on today is the New York Democratic primary for the mayoral vote. Mamdani has been leading Cuomo. Mamdani, I think, is a self-described socialist, has the backing of Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, whereas Governor Cuomo has some GOP donors behind him. He's wants to fight anti-Semitism. He has skeletons in the closet. He had to leave governorship because of sexual harassment charges, but he seems to be trailing in the polls for the Democratic primary to Mamdani. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But I thought we could be election free for a little bit until next year. Looks like no. Wearing a weighted vest This is something that I've been starting to do for exercise. There's a lot of ways to make your walks more challenging and for you to get more exercise out of it. And so I think they call it rucking, where you walk with extra weight. And my son's just got me for my birthday a weighted vest. Even though you think my bra is weighted enough, I could use some more weight to help with my metabolism and exercise. And so as long as you don't have neck and back and shoulder issues, they're great. What I recommend, though, you don't do is go at its max day one. Build up a little, because you will pull some muscles. Even though it's only 10 pounds or 20 pounds, depending on what you put in there, it could, your body might not be ready for it. And I would start out slow, adding an extra couple pounds every day. And even when you're walking around the house, if you could get more incline, if you could find some hills to walk up, do that. But try to challenge yourself so you could burn more calories, build muscle, but you're walking. Walking is a fantastic form of exercise. And it also helps lubricate the joints. But people think, well, the walking isn't enough because I'm not losing weight. Well, then add the extra weight to you. I wouldn't carry weights in my wrists because that could hurt your wrists. But I like the idea of a weight vest. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH. Don't go away.
Can you believe, with all the recent violent protests, looting, and destruction, some areas are considering either defunding or abolishing the police? At a time when America's neighborhoods need the protection of police the most, some elected officials would rather create more chaos by playing politics. If you're sick of elected officials caving in to demands of the radical left, you're not alone. It's time we stand up and declare our support for local police. The majority of police officers are important partners in protecting our God-given rights. If you prefer freedom over chaos, then learn how you can help protect the local police that serve your community. Call today and request your free Support Your Local Police info packet. Dial 800-JBS-USA1. That's 800-JBS-USA1. Request your free Support Your Local Police info packet by calling 800-JBS-USA1 today.
Breaking news from the stadium tonight as an anonymous fan foot the bill for 55,000 hot dogs, bringing that sweet tubed meat to everyone in attendance.
Free dogs! Yeah!
55,000 hot dogs? What does that even cost? While the identity of this Frankfurter philanthropist remains anonymous, their all-beefy generosity will go down in history.
The new Mega Millions. More to win means more to give. How you spend it is up to you.
Yeah!
For game odds and details, visit SCEducationLottery.com.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No